Hello lads and ladies, and welcome back. For another video on the channel. Today we are back for some more League One and Fleetwood Town content. Yes, on this channel we do all things League One, from live streams from on a Sunday about everything. On a Saturday revolving League One, we do League One videos, ranking videos, best of, top 10s, predictions, everything. If you're a League One fan, get subscribed down below for Fleetwood vlogs as well. Again, that is a team that we support, and at the moment we're not doing too badly. In this video, we're going to discuss what is going on at Fleetwood Town, from ownership to management to players to results. Why are we doing so poorly? We're going to try and get to the bottom of it in this video. If you're new, please like and subscribe. We're on the road to 12,500 subscribers. So Fleetwood Town have been struggling now for a little bit. And this doesn't go back 2 weeks or 2 months. It goes back a couple of years. Since lockdown, Fleetwood Town haven't hit the heights it did quite before it. Obviously, before that, Fleetwood Town was spending £6 million rumouredly on wages, which was one of the top 6 biggest budgets in the division. Up there's with Peterborough and Portsmouth and sides of that ilk. We weren't quite up to the Sunderland standards of well over 27 million one season. Was kind of their outgoing. According to one source, but again, we were one of the bigger sides in the division for wages. We had Ched Evans, Paddy Madden, Glenn Whelan, Harry Suter on loan. Joey Barton as manager. Joey Barton did a good job for Fleetwood, but he had the biggest budget ever available to a Fleetwood manager, and he got what was expected of that budget. He did well, scored some great goals, got us playing attacking football, and did a good job. Met the standards that we did, and he's done. He did the town proud for the time. Look, he's off the field antics at time wasn't quite well, but why question it when you're doing well on the pitch? And as football supporters, you question it if you're not going right. And Joey Barton left the football club 6 months later after we lost a playoff semi-final to Wickham. That season, we didn't quite back Joey Barton as well. A couple of the loan signings weren't quite the standard. We brought players back maybe we shouldn't have done, the likes of Barry Mackay. We brought Glenn Whelan back for a bit. We kind of kept Paul Coots. We kept the core of it, and probably should have gone into a younger basis. And we kind of struggled in the latter part of the season. Joey Barton fell out with Ched Evans, Alex Cairns, and they were both kind of nearly given the marching orders. Ched Evans went to Preston. Paddy Madden left for Stockport. And when Paddy Madden left for Stockport, that was a talking point. What's happening at Fleetwood? You've lost your 2 main strikers within a window. You've replaced them with kind of, Kyle Vassell, who was a free agent, who wasn't quite as good. And all of a sudden, then Fleetwood stayed up under Simon Grayson. The next season, we weren't great at all. We didn't have a great squad. We were in an embargo where we couldn't sign players. We couldn't have a squad over 22. We had to have an emergency signing in Conor McLaughlin. And we got hindered by injuries. We had a lot of young lads step up, the likes of Dylan Boyle, Barry Bagley, Kean Hayes, and they did well. Carl Johnson still in our first team now. James Hill has gone on to Bournemouth and now on loan at Blackburn, doing really well for himself. Billy Crellin obviously had a bit of game time. Within that 2-year period, he's now at Everton. So we had a lot of players kind of come through the youth academy and bear its fruit, and we did it okay. Now Fleetwood that season did relatively poorly till the November part of the season. They're in the bottom 4 under Simon Grayson. Fleetwood Town sacked Simon Grayson. He had not too long in the job, about 9 months, within the role from January to November, and did well for the first 4. Got a new deal. Probably shouldn't have stayed on. If I'm honest with you, probably should have been a shorter appointment. Stephen Cranian got appointed. It wasn't a cheap appointment, but it was an appointment that didn't quite lack ambition, but it was kind of like, it's a stopgap, this, and it's not going to be here forever. Cranian stepped up, got a couple of wins. He actually won 4 of his first 8, drew 2, lost 2. Those included wins over Bolton Wanderers, included wins over Gillingham, who were down there at the time. We also got a decent point away at Morecambe, who were down there with us, as well. And we didn't do too poorly, if I'm honest with you. We also, we got wins after Christmas against Rotherham as well. And, we were in game, beat Doncaster away. Ellis Harrison scored on debut. In January, we strengthened the squad a little bit. Harrison came in. Toto and Ciala came in. They weren't big signings, but they weren't quite of the standard of signings that Fleetwood had made previous seasons ago. And the money hadn't dried up, but we're in an embargo and we had to be careful because Andy Pilley's core business, BS, was struggling with the pandemic. That is where Fleetwood Town get all the money from. Andy Pilley is the kind of the main man for it, from sponsorship, from BS, card saver as well. And without his money, Fleetwood Town are not a sustainable club. And we have kind of not bought success, but relied on money to kind of get where we are. Without it, we'd probably be in the Northwest Counties. There's no denying that. But again, in January, we signed a couple of decent players and managed to kind of get a couple of results, got a couple of points. After January, the injuries start to halt. You know, we had key players get injured at key times. I think at one stage in the season, we went into a game with 16 of our 24 senior players injured, and we had to rely on, you know, Kean Hayes, Shaden Morris, Jay Matete, you know, at key times early in the season and after this kind of the January period as well. Also, you know, in that kind of January period as well, James Hill left the football club. Jay Matete left the football club. So, you know, all of a sudden then you've lost two of your, you know, your better players, which didn't help. And, you know, these are players that Craney had worked with previously as well. And we go 1 in 21 and we concede late goals all the time. Ackridge and Stanley at home. You know, Cairns gets set off. Callum Camps goes in goal. And it's just like, what's going to happen to this football club? You know, and we managed to beat Crewe in that run. And luckily, we get a late goal against Wimbledon through Joe Garner, one of the better players that season, say the least. And then we take it to the final day. We lose 4-2 to Bolton. Gillingham lose. We stay up on a club record, lowest points tally. It's 3 points had come up, 40 points, and we stay up just. Last season, Scott Brown came in. The budget increased. Vela came in, a good marquee signing at the time for Fleetwood. You know, your likes of, you know, we brought better experienced players. Jack Marriott in the January window, Jaden Stockley in the January window, Lewis Warrington in on loan. That was a good marquee signing for us. Carlos Mendes Gomez. These are good signings for Fleetwood. You kind of thought, ooh, we're having to start to have a go and build our way up. And we did well last season. So he did him 30. He didn't play great football at times, but the players seemed happy. Now, in the summer, things changed a little bit. Players didn't quite look as happy. They didn't come back quite as fit. And fatigue and fitness levels weren't quite where they needed to be. And, you know, there was a couple of outings of players, the likes of Jack Marriott wanted to leave the football club. That's not happening, says Scott Brown. A couple of other players he wanted to bring in might not have come in. And it kind of felt we were very unbalanced, and it still does. Scott Brown starts to cut the season. We draw 1-1 away at Carlisle. We didn't play well. We lost 2-0 at home to Cambridge. We didn't play well. Then we lose to Bolton 3-1, and we were awful. We were 2-0 down within the first kind of 10, 15-minute period. We lost 3-1 in the end, and it should have been 6 or 7, if I'm honest with you. We also lose away at Derby, lose at home to Shrewsbury, lose away at Charlton. That was 5 defeats in 6 with a Port Vale defeat in there. So 6 defeats from 7, you know, including the Cup. Scott Brown got his marching orders. 2 or 3 games, probably too early, but the players were turning the the fans were starting to turn on Scott Brown a little bit at that moment in time. And then that was an international break. Scott Brown, if he had a game the week after, which was meant to be the Blackpool home game, which is a derby game for Fleetwood, not necessarily for Blackpool, and I don't think he would have gone. Lee Johnston's come in now, and he seemed to lift spirits and talk like a car salesman, but it came across well, and it's what you wanted to hear. And I started feeling optimistic about it because I lost my love and my drive for watching Fleetwood a little bit. You go home and away, you're losing games of football, you don't play well, you don't feel wanted. You know, you don't want to be there. We lose 3-0 to Oxford. We concede straight away, first 20 minutes outside the box, and then concede 2 sloppy goals and kind of don't seem to get back into the game. We draw away at Burton. That's a positive sign. Again, we get back into the game, and we beat Leyton Orient at home, which was a great result. We beat Cheltenham away, and it kind of felt, right, this is a bit of a bounce that we need. And we knew Lee Johnston was a bit of a streaky manager. And then after that, we kind of stopped-start. We had international breaks, lost 4-1 to Wycombe just before it. Then we kind of go into an international break. Then you lose 1-0 at home to Lincoln, a side that you feel that if you want to be in League One, you want to aim to be, because Lincoln have done exceptionally well in this last 2 or 3 years. And, you know, when you're saying you want to be like teams like Lincoln, that just emphasises the enormous respect that Lincoln deserve for what they've done in League One in this last 2 years, because they were down there with us that, 2 seasons ago under Stephen Craney, and Simon Grayson. And we lost, so we weren't great at all. Then after that, we faltered a little bit. But then we got decent results after that. We beat Reading, which was a good result. We drew away at Barnes because he did in the 88th minute. 3-3 against Blackpool. We were 2-0 up. We crumbled. And that's the story of the season. We could see too many goals. The worst defence in League One. With over 34, 35 goals conceded in the league. Conceded 3 goals or more 11 times this season. We play high press. And Johnson's already come out and said he needs new players. These players aren't meeting the standards. He's having to give second, third, and fourth and fifth chances. So it feels like a lot of the dressing room has turned on Lee Johnson. And half like him, half don't. The half that don't like him are Scott Brown's boys that he brought in and maybe kind of, liked and favoured because they've done well for him in the past and deservedly so. Maybe they're not flavour of the month with Lee Johnson and they don't like that. Sean Rooney and Scott Robertson, 2 of those that were decent, at parts last season. Sean Rooney, going forward was great defensively at times, was a bit concerning, but scored, 6 goals in League One, I think it was last season, and was good. And those 2 have kind of disappeared from the face of the earth. I think there's been issues away from the football pitch, and they've not been great on the pitch at times, but away from it, there seems to be issues as well. I can see 6 or 7 players leaving in January, but 6 or 7 come in, and I feel like he's had chats too early maybe and said, you're going, you're staying. And the dressing room is a very split bunch. The players don't look happy. They look sad. They look lethargic. They look like they don't want to be there. And that's a big issue. And it feels like they're being overtrained at times as well. From the outside, they look a bit tired and a little bit lethargic. And I think all they could do is a bit of a break, 2 or 3 days away from the training pitch, just kind of settle them down and go out for a Christmas party, go out for a drink, forget about football, forget you're a footballer for 2 or 3 days and come back and enjoy it again. Because as a footballer, you've got to enjoy it because it is toxic at times. It takes over your whole life. And when you're losing games of football, it doesn't help. But in the summer, the big talking point was Andy Pilley getting sent down, for 13 years. And although money wasn't a factor in that and players, won't really have too much issues with that because they're still getting paid at the end of the day. It's like if your manager went down or, your manager left the company, as long as you're still getting paid, you'd be okay. I think for Fleetwood at the moment, it's that bit of security, that little bit of what's going on. It kind of feels like we've got lots of people, good people that are good at the jobs and, know the role, know the club, want the best for the club. And over a long-term picture, we'll be okay. But at this moment, I kind of feel that everyone's doing a bit of something. It kind of feels a little bit messy, a little bit like a kid's classroom, year 6, without a teacher. It just needs a little bit of control. And Andy Pilley had that. He called everything down. He was the boss of everything. He called the shots, and everyone else could do what they did best. And at the moment, we're not getting the people what they do off the pitch, doing what they do best because they're filling other roles. And that is the issue, I think, at the moment. And I think January will be huge. I think if January is right for Fleetwood Town, they'll be okay. They've got enough resources. Poolfoot is a great facility. They've got a decent, experienced manager there. He's actually got a better points per game record than Scott Brown did at Fleetwood, only by 0.02. And he's played 4 times as less games. But again, that run we went on, we know he's a streaky manager with 2 points adrift. Things can change. So overall, the wage structure has changed. A lot more younger players coming in, kind of, a younger model, trying to bring players through and sell them on, become self-sustainable. Ownership issues as well, kind of selling players again, trying to replace them for not as much money and kind of trying doing everything on a not a cheaper version, but trying to do it on a more smarter version where you're becoming more self-sustainable. And these issues have kind of added up this season. And unfortunately, we're paying the consequences. I do think overall Fleetwood Town will be okay, but these are just some of the issues that's going on at Fleetwood Town Football Club. Please please subscribe if you did enjoy it. And if you'd like more of this sort of stuff for different football clubs across Sky Bet League One, let me know in the description down below and the comment section below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you later. Up the Sky Bet League One. This is your home and your hub of Sky Bet League One content. Thank you for watching.